Here's a quick look into today's episode.
The three buckets, you can't do it alone. Clarity is king, and execution is the key to doing the things once you set those goals. And then last, I'd say, is it all starts with you, and it all starts with you as an individual, because you have got to, like, in order to lead, you've got to demonstrate these things. You've got to show people the right way to do it. You've got to show people how to execute. You can't just say execute. Yeah. You've got to show people what your values are. You can't just say, these are my values. You can't just write them on a piece of paper, put them up on a wall and say, these are my values. Everybody go off and do great things and follow my values. You know? So in order to lead an organization, you've got to demonstrate it yourself. Like those things. Clarity is king. You've got to be clear about your things. That will turn into a good organization. The same things that you do as an individual are the things that an organization needs to have. An organization needs to have values. An organization needs to have clarity. An organization needs to know what direction it's going. An organization has to have processes that are done the same way all the time. It can't be, our organization is known as an organization that creatively solves problems. What does that mean? Does that mean do it differently every single time? Yeah, it means we never do something the same way twice. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I want to be a part of an organization that does something different every single time. Routine things need to be done routinely.
Yeah.
So that there's zero question. If you run into this person in my organization, we all do it the same way. Like anybody in the Snakes, these are our values. This is how we do things, right? It's not that so, well, you have to talk to Matt in order to get that, to just see it done right. Or, well, most of the people do it okay, but if you talk to Trivius, he'll do it really good. No, you want them to talk to anybody in your organization. And that's the feeling that the same feeling that they're going to get when they talk to anybody in your organization is the feeling that they would get when they talk to you.
Welcome to another episode of Teach Me to Fish, where our purpose is to help leaders better understand what drives people. In today's world, the core of recruiting and retaining talent revolves around leadership. And not just average leadership, but motivated, values-based, inspirational leadership. Our purpose is to get a little bit better every day. Progress equals small victories and stacking habits. Habits like getting up early, working your butt off, learning something new, being positive, and surrounding yourself with phenomenal people.
Yo.
Hey, sir, what's going on?
Hey, how are you this morning?
Are you on the dock of the bay?
I am.
I saw the picture. That is cool.
My house is a mess. And like, I really got no place I can go and like just sit and be by myself. And you know, I got Brady sleeping on an air mattress in the living room. I got the girls in their rooms. Every room I sit in, I feel like I'm in this like echo chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When are you flying?
We fly to Chicago on the 27th.
That's right.
And then we are in Chicago for those few days, and then on 2 July we fly to Oahu. Stay in Waikiki for about a week.
Oh, I'm envious.
Yeah, man.
Envious. That sounds great.
It is. It's amazing, and like the whole thing about it is, like every part of it is awesome. Like we've managed to get to all the girls' volleyball games. We've managed to see family. We got our stuff out of the house. It's taken about 3 to 4 weeks to do this move this time, but it's all worked out. But it's like an airfield seizure execution matrix. It's like everything is accounted for. Everything is wheels up at this time. It's like we got to get tomorrow morning, we got to be packed. We got to get the house professionally cleaned, fumigated by like someone because we had pets. Then I got to be in Orlando to turn in Christy's car tomorrow at 1400. Then we got to check into the Marriott, condo, which we got because of other volleyball tournaments. And so we got a really good deal on 5 days in Orlando. So it's absolute heaven, but every day is accounted for, and both girls got to be in 2 different places. Evan's about to go to the national championship for volleyball. So like she has to come back to Tampa to go to do 2 days of practices in order to get ready for Chicago,
Yeah.
while Ryan has to be in Orlando for her big tournament. And Brady's here on leave all at the same time.
Wow. Yeah, you're managing a lot. And you're prepping to take command at the same time.
Yeah, it seems like that's probably the easiest part.
Oh man, that's
I
funny.
say the easiest part because that's the stuff we've been doing our whole life, and that's the stuff we've been doing for 20 something years now. And as soon as I think the other part is you get surrounded by a bunch of people that are all going in the same direction, and everything's easier when you're part of a team. You know,
Yeah.
when you're doing this move stuff, you feel a lot by yourself. You feel like it's all on you and your wife and your girls and your family, and you got a support system, but it's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah, I definitely know that feeling. Except, being in school here for a year and having to move. I did the move by myself. Dorothea's still in Hawaii. She comes back next month, so I'm excited about that.
That's and and nobody sees those things. It's like that's the personal side of this business, and people don't see the sacrifices and the choices you make for your family in order to keep on going. They just see paradise. They just see going to Duke. They just see PhD program. How could life be any better, right? And you're
Yeah.
like you don't feel only new.
Yep. Yep. That's right. That's funny. Last night I did a podcast with Dean Danis, and and he to talk about that 48-mile run we did,
Uh-huh.
and he brought you up, and he was talking about the GRTC rotation, and I told him, I said, we got good sleep on that rotation, and he goes, oh man, I saw you guys, and all of you, the top five looked like comatose, like there was something, there was a glare in your eye. I said that was that coffee. That was that Lion's Mane coffee is what that was. And right there when I said that, I went online and bought a bunch of it.
Hey, I was like 2 seconds before you call, I was trying to log into Amazon to get another thing of the Fink, the one that has the lion's mane and a couple other things in it. Chaga, I think's one of them that you mix with your morning coffee. It's
Mhm.
just different than getting like the lion's mane pill. So I'm gonna get that powder again.
Yeah, yeah. That was I remember the first time I had it, and I told him, I said, man, that amped me up pretty good. Yeah, it's just expensive stuff. So but it's
Yeah,
good.
you can't break that out every day because if you break it out every day, you just get used to it,
That's right.
and then you're like you don't feel the same extra.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm getting caught
Yeah.
up. I spent the weekend down in Columbus. I went down there for that panel, which was
Yeah, I
interesting.
saw it.
Yeah,
I listened to it too.
well, that was the one I did for Dr. Greg. So I think they're going to publish
Yes.
the panel today. I think, but it was interesting. They moved it out of Building 4. I think some politics got involved in some way, shape, or form, and they moved it out of there. And then we had a tornado come through Columbus, Georgia, and so they ended up canceling the event. But all of the panelists were there, so I was like, "Hey, just film the conversation because we all drove here," and they did that. So it was nice.
Okay. I didn't realize all that extra stuff. I
Yeah,
saw a
yeah.
couple of like the panels and the posts and that, and I figured it all went off like clockwork.
No, they canceled it, and because everybody, all the panelists were there, I made the recommendation to just film it, and luckily, I think 15 lieutenants showed up from Ibolic, and so we had a little bit of an audience, and so that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then got a chance to kind of come back, and I don't know if you weren't in Hawaii when the kid got hit by the car crossing over to Wheeler. I don't think you were, but that was.
No.
Yeah, that was Joshua's good friend, and they're in, I guess, they're 30 minutes outside of Charleston, South Carolina. So we stopped off and saw them on the way back here. We got back 2 nights ago. So now I'm trying to get caught
So
up on my homework and stuff.
yeah, you're always juggling. Man, I've always been so impressed on how you not only juggle like all the things that you do, but you in the storm of like every day get things done. But like you've always had like these great projects going, like big wig type stuff. wild goals. You're always working on something like this podcast, and like you've gone from like, I'm going to try this thing out to like 10 plus episodes already, and like the Instagram page is starting, and I'm sure you'll have a website right behind it. And then you got the YouTube channel, and so like you're practicing these things, but like you're making progress every single day. It's awesome.
Yeah, small victories, I guess. I'm trying to capitalize on some of this stuff, and some of it has to do with just having a lot of time on my hands. Because I know if I was at a day to day, doing field grade work or something like that, I don't know that I would have this much time to invest in some of these projects. So it's nice to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It not just the time, but like what I find is like if I have time on my hands, my head starts spinning, and it starts thinking about like, why didn't I do this and why didn't I do that,
Hmm.
or it starts to bring up like bad thoughts or like thoughts that I don't want to think about. And it's like, well, I'm not going to do anything about that. So it's like staying busy is like a coping mechanism. It's meditative, if you will. It's like, these are the things you got to get done or you want to get done, and when you work on them. Or if it's something that nobody told you to work on, it's just inspiring. It's just like, I really want to write about that or think about that. Makes you feel good. And then
Hmm.
that interaction you end up having with somebody is great. Vice the other way around, which is if you kind of sit around with too much time on your hands, and next thing you know, it's 14, 1500, and you're like, I didn't do anything today. Well, that's because I didn't chart a course for today. I really didn't make up any plans for the day. And then all of a sudden you bump into somebody. It's the first time you've seen them in 6 months, and you're just kind of not clicking. And then they're like, "Are you okay?" Or
Hmm.
what you been up to? And instead of being like your normal fired up self, excited, because you just got done thinking about something, talking about something, you know. And I
Yep.
think back to like when have I been the most excited, over the last like 3 weeks? It's always when I'm with Christy and the girls and Brady, and we're doing something. We're at a volleyball game, and like this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, focused. And then when you see somebody an hour later, and they're like, "Hey, what you been up to?" You tell them all about it. You tell them what you've been doing. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
the other one is when I talk to you. Like whenever you call, like I always feel like I spend 30 minutes getting my head right. Like what am I thinking about? I go back immediately to the routines that make you feel good. I get up early, I exercise, I go through my morning routine, I do a little bit of headspace, I write in my journal. Next thing you know, I'm talking to you and I'm like, bang, I'm focused. I feel great. And then
Yeah.
the whole day after that is great because like I already feel like if I do nothing for the rest of the day, like that was awesome. That
Yeah.
was a small victory.
Yeah, you've always had that routine. Yeah, I think I may take it for granted how much you prepare because when you step out, you don't. I mean, you seem well rehearsed, but nobody sees the prep work behind the scenes.
Yeah. And I don't know if I feel like, people have either criticized me about that before or I've criticized myself and I've said like, you don't prepare, you're the kind of person that it just flies by the seat of your pants, you're very nonchalant. Some people might think you're aloof, and what they don't see and what you is all the work that went in behind the scenes and the hours of thought and the hours of journaling and the hours of writing. you know 30
Hmm.
minutes a day adds up over 365 days. An hour worth of running, 60 minutes of running a day, even if you're not running fast. I mean, that's a lot of hours
Yeah.
put in over the course of 365 days. And when you make a couple notes to yourself and you say, hey, I need to talk to this person, I need to send this person a note, I need to ask this person this question, and you are prepared for those moments, for those times when an opportunity presents itself.
Yeah. 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 I was thinking about. I think last week we talked. You said we should talk every week and call it like an extended. What'd you call it? Not a 6 minute drill. I think you did call it a 6 minute drill. Oh,
Morning stand up. I said
yeah.
we need to do a morning stand up more often.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a genius idea as a check in, as a way to check in and think about the week and everything like that. Really, really cool. I'm gonna implement that when I take command. By the way. I
I,
mean,
I, I'm on the opposite, not opposite, but it's that some of the things that we do in the Army, like I love about it, and I love how it works, and it makes me feel, and I think in a way, most of it is the way I think it makes the other people around us feel, and you try to bring that back to your everyday life, your family, and you say, well, if we in the Army like get together at 06 and we all talk about what our one thing is, and we all talk about the most important thing we got to do that day, and we all support each other to do that one thing, and we're all synchronized, and we get things off our chest, and we talk about the rest of the week. I feel like, why would we not do that with our family? Real quick, get the family together. Hey, all right, Christy, what's the most important thing you got going on? Evan, what's your one thing for today? Brady, but they look at you like you're crazy.
yeah.
They're like, what are we doing? Like, this ain't the Army. And I'm like, this isn't the Army. This is life. Like, I want to support you to do the most important thing you want to do today, or got to get done today. And now that I say that, right? Yesterday, me and Christy went on a walk. We drove to the gym. We did a quick 30-minute workout, and then we went for a 2-mile walk. And we usually call it like the Sunday sink, but like it's not Sunday. We do it whenever we need it. And like we just walk, no notes, no headphones, just me and her. And it's like, all right, what do we got to do? This is what we got to do today when we get home. Okay, what do we got to do tomorrow? Like, what do we got to do the rest of the week? What's the rest of the week look like? We kind of go through that. What's the one thing we got to get done? All right, we talk about that. What big decisions are lurking on our mind right now? And, is there a piece of information that's missing, in order to make that decision? Or do we just need to, like, tactical patience? Just let the process go through. Like, we're not at that bridge yet. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it,
Yeah.
But is it weighing on us? And then get it off your chest. Like, what are we not talking about? What is like just bothering you every minute? And I think that's what makes us a good team, because she wants to make a decision like 5 minutes ago. She wants to know, like, hey, like, what's the decision? What's it going to be? And how are we going to execute it? And I say, well, we need more information. We need to take our time. We need to be a little bit more patient. We need to cross that bridge when we get to it. It's not time to make that decision yet. And then she puts the pressure on me so I don't procrastinate. And then I try to slow things down a little bit. And then we meet in the middle, and I say, we'll know when we know.
Yeah.
And we know what the right decision is, and off we go.
Yeah. That's just good communication. Because I know I'm the opposite. I want to sort of make the quick and fast decision, and Dorothea's like, slow down. Slow down, give it time, and it irks me because I'm like I want to move to action so fast, and then 9 times out of 10, it's the right decision is to slow down and let it materialize.
Yeah, and that's why you need both of you, because like if you go too fast, you're going to make rash decisions. Sometimes you're going to seize an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you be patient, you're going to miss an opportunity. But when you meet in the middle and when you work together, you're going to know the times to be patient, and you're going to know the times that it's time to be a little bit bold.
Yeah.
It's time to take a chance. It's time. This one's worth taking a risk, and just executing. Just go. And I don't think we've always been good with the communication thing. I let things boil up. I don't be honest. I don't say what I really mean. I try to avoid conflict. And then next thing you know, it all boils up, and then you blow up. So we've if you say I want to get better at communication, you got to communicate. You got to practice.
Yeah. Yep. It's deliberate, and it takes some work.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm tired. I tell you that. I went out for a run yesterday, and I was going to do I thought I was going to go out and run 5 miles in 40 minutes and just like crush it. And I got maybe 1.8 miles in, and my body was like, not today. I'm still recovering from that 48 miler.
Where do you feel it?
There's no pain. It's just fatigue. It's just
like in your heart, in your chest.
No,
in
my legs.
Your legs.
Yeah, because I looked at my heart rate, and normally, on that Jungle 5K, right, I'm rocking like a 190 heart rate, which is ridiculous. But I was running probably 841 pace yesterday, and I was only at 147, which is really good for me because normally I'm around 170. So I
Hmm.
guess my cardiovascular ability increased a little bit, but I was tired. And so what I did was I slowed down and I worked on my cadence. I never done this before, but I watched this YouTube video about running, and it said that if you can run at about 200 steps per minute, something like that.
Hmm.
Normally I'm at 160. That's my average cadence. So I
Yeah, me
tried to
too.
like increase my cadence to about 200. I only got up to 180, but I was smoked because you're moving twice as fast, but you're not going faster. You know.
Yeah.
And so that was working different muscles, and I was just smoked. And so I started walking a little bit. I stretched out real good, and I got to go to the gym today just to kind of work my body back into it. But what I think is happening though, and this is interesting, is that when I was on doing those 4 miles every 4 hours, my body got used to the routine, and so
Uh-huh.
once I hit around 2.5 miles, I think my body is like reverting back to, okay, we got another 4 miles. And it's like if you do something so consistently, your body will adjust to it. So I
Yep.
think that's happening a little bit. So I got to shock it back out of that routine.
Yeah. That's similar. That's how I felt when I ran every day for a year, which was like, how do you manage to do it every day, and how do you go out there and put the time in? I feel like my body was like it it knew it quicker reminded itself where it was yesterday. Okay, this is the steps, this is the length of your stride, this
Hmm.
is this is how many steps you take per minute, this is how my heart needs to go. And I was able to just become so routine, but then I wasn't balanced, like I was so routine with the running every day that I was avoiding injury, that I wasn't too tired, I wasn't going too fast, I was calibrated. It told me when to slow down. It told me when I was going too fast. It told me when I was going too slow,
Yeah.
when I needed to pick it up a little bit. But when you said I was tired, what I started to notice was even when I would rest and sleep and recover and go slow, I felt like this in my chest, like not in my heart rate. Like the heart rate was good, my legs were good, my knees felt good, but I would just feel drained. I would feel like tired, and I would feel like my whole body felt it. And it was like I feel like I just need to kind of really shut it down.
Yeah.
Not shut it down completely, but shut it down like take a day here, take a day there, walk instead of run, and it's going to take more than like 2 days. Like you can't just do it for 2 days and be like, all right, I'm back on.
Yep.
And that's what I've been working through right now, and I'm trying to be a lot more balanced. I did a lot more stretching yesterday. I did, some weights again, and then I also did, 6 to 8 miles
Oh
a couple of
man.
days ago.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, those runs are relaxing to me. And I've started to not focus on my watch so much, but just do it for like the therapy of it.
Yeah.
And that's beneficial. Yeah. And sometimes I do it to clear my head. I was so behind yesterday in my work. I get up around 6 a.m. and I sit down, and I had so much to do that I couldn't even get started. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to run, clear my head. And
Hmm.
then that turned into the Atomic Habits, right? That turned into me cutting the grass, which turned into me washing the car, which turned into me going to grocery shopping. And by the time I was done, I hadn't done any work. I think I fell asleep. I took a nap, and then I got up and I hit the books for a couple of hours, which was good. But just listening to my body, yeah, it's helpful. Colonel Mayo called me yesterday. We had a good conversation.
Oh, did he?
He did. We talked for about an hour. And he's very busy, but he was off yesterday because of Juneteenth. And he gave me a call. He talked about the podcast because he listened to it. And then he was talking to me about JT and Jackson. I think that's the older one. No, JT's the older one. About to commission out of ROTC. He's going infantry. And
Mhm.
yeah, so he's like, if the stars align and I end up at Liberty, that'd be great if he's in my battalion.
Oh, hell yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
Yep, yep. So we'll see. We'll see if he can make that happen for me.
Oh my God, brother. That would be so awesome. That would be so awesome. You're gonna be so good at that, and I know that because like that's the most prepared you will ever be for anything you've ever done in in the army
Really?
is to be a battalion. Yes, is to be a battalion commander. Because like you have been preparing for that your whole life, so prepared. Not just because of the things that the army has done for you, because of all the things you've done on your own outside of the, your study, your fitness, you kept yourself healthy, you've got a great family, all these things, right? That's why you will be the most so prepared when you take command, and that's why everybody is going to be in your unit. It's going to be special.
Well, I hope so. I'm super nervous. I had an opportunity to meet with my first platoon sergeant when I was down in Columbus. I don't know if you remember Scruffy Murphy's. It's like a little Irish pub downtown.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so we met there, and in comes my first guidon bearer when I was in 82nd. And so here I have, between me, my first guidon bearer, he's now, I guess he's about 26 or 27, but I met him when he was 19. He's going back to 505, 2nd Battalion, 505th. He's going back there as a staff sergeant. But when I met him, he was a private. And so, we talked, and then my former platoon sergeant, when I was a second lieutenant, he's now retired. And so we just sat there for hours and just kind of caught up and talked about service and transitioning, which is huge because I had a chance to I met with a lot of people on this trip, but a good friend of mine was the DCSM for 3rd Infantry Division, and he just retired. And so we got into a really good conversation about transition out of the Army and how it goes from 100 miles an hour to 0 in less than 24 hours, and how he was adjusting to that. And my platoon sergeant said the same thing. And so really interesting perspective about, life after the Army and making that transition. And Keely and I talked about that a little bit too. So really interesting stuff.
Yeah. What I've been thinking about over the last couple of years is how do we make those last few years in the Army more like the years after you transition, and how do you make the years after you transition more like the years in the Army, so that we don't have this like people that lose their identity, that people that feel that they struggle because now they've left the military behind, and that's such a different part of their life, and at the same time, why would people want to make something they've done for 30 years or 20 something years and do something so dramatically different? You would only think it was because you didn't really like what you were doing.
Yeah.
If you're trying to go after something that's so different, we always say, you're going to close this chapter in my life. Why do we want to close it? Was it so bad?
Oh, that's interesting.
It can't be because it was so good that I can't wait for this thing to come to an end. Like everything was so great that I can't wait for it to end. It's the other way around. It's like it was so great. That's why it went by so fast. It was so awesome, and I loved what I was doing every single day. Why would I not want to make that continue with some slight changes? Like instead of putting on a uniform, I'm putting on, pants and a shirt.
Yeah.
I'm still part of a team. I'm still, being held accountable for things. I'm still holding people accountable. I'm still learning new things. I'm still trying new stuff. I still got new experiences. But then you get to kind of remove some of the things that maybe you didn't like. Not everybody wants to move every 2 to 3 years, right? So you start to get you can get your routines like really down pat because you're coming home for dinner every night, and you're getting up in the morning at the same time, and you're showing up at the same time every day, and you can build those routines. Why can't you build those routines now if you're still in?
Yeah. I don't think people look at it from that perspective. I think they think that. I don't know what they think, but I imagine that there's fear involved with like transitioning out of this type of institution. When in reality, if you can cultivate the same type of qualities, a long time ago, I kind of wrote out on a sheet of paper what I tried to define what the Army was to me, or at least what a soldier was. And I came up with all of these attributes, what I thought a good soldier is. And I said, well, could I still enjoy these attributes without being a soldier? And the answer to that is yes. I just have to find
Yeah.
the profession that allows me to exude, a physically fit lifestyle, energetic and active listener lifestyle, all of these things. And I don't think people think about it that way.
Yeah. Man, you got me thinking, like, there's two things. The eulogy project that you had me do,
Mm.
write your eulogy. What do you want to be remembered as? And then the second is I've been working with a couple of different executive coaches. And all three of those things, I say three because there's two different executive coaches I've been working with. And to put it in a nutshell, it's that when have you felt the most inspired? When did you wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. without an alarm clock and you couldn't wait to go do what you were going to go do that day? You know,
Yeah.
dream, close your eyes and think about those moments in your life. And then what were they? Like, what were you doing? What were the things that like you remember about it? And then why can't you do that today? Like what is keeping you from living that life today? And the example I used with my coach was when we were in Schofield Barracks, when I was the commander and you were a field grade and Keely was a sergeant major and maybe we had COVID and like all these different variables, but like I couldn't wait to wake up in the morning and start the day and have our sync and do PT and go see everybody and be around soldiers and help people, make their dreams come true. And we were also in a tropical paradise. So
That's
that
right.
didn't happen, And so, but the routines became the same every day and we were able to do it and perfect it and start over again the next day and try again and 1% better every day. Right. And the coach said, why can't you do that now? Like, are you doing? And I said, a lot of these things I am doing. I still wake up first thing in the morning. I still do my morning routine. I still exercise every day. Right now it's by myself, but can I get a group? Can I find a group of people that I do it with? Relationships, building them, always learning something new, implementing it every single day. So you can do these things. And I think you start to put together your list of values and your list of principles in your life that you say, these are the things, this is my ideal day.
Mm-hmm.
And you're always working towards it. You're always working towards it. You say, I didn't get a good night's sleep last night. All right. Ideal day kind of requires a good night's sleep so you can wake up feeling like $1 million in the morning.
Yeah. So my struggle is to discipline at night because, your morning will be determined by the night you had previously. Right. And so, if I'm deciding to, my albatross is the bourbon. I'll have a glass of bourbon. And then before long, that one will turn to two, and then I'm waking up groggy. So
Yep.
what I end up doing is I trick myself and I schedule something the next morning where I have to wake up with a clear head. I have to get an adequate night's sleep. And generally that's when I have the best mornings is when I have something to look forward to. But if I have nothing going on, then I'll slip into, it'll be okay. And it's not okay because it takes me hours to get started when I don't have something on the horizon.
Yeah, amen. Like this morning, this phone call with you. Because of this phone call, I went to bed at a good time. Because I went to bed at a good time, I woke up naturally. When I woke up naturally, I went through my routine. But I started to immediately feel this uncomfortable. And I was like, why am I feeling uncomfortable? Because I don't have my space. I don't have my spot that I go to in the morning right now. Because my chair is put away and my office is all packed up. And I got sleeping on air mattresses and I don't want to wake Christy up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
So it just told me, all right, well, when we get to Hawaii, your timeline is the same, but you got to create that space. You got to create that place that you go at 6 a.m., that place that you go at 7 a.m., that place that you do your journaling, so that the question doesn't go into your head, where am I going to journal today? Am I going to journal at the dock? Am I a journal at the kitchen counter?
Mm-hmm.
Am I a journal soaking in the tub with Epsom salts. That doesn't work because the papers fall out of your damn notebook.
Yeah.
It's like little things like that you're like, no. When I sit and soak in Epsom salts and I prepare for my run, those 15 minutes I read something new, something that's new, something that I'm not that I can maybe try to implement that day. Like
Mm-hmm.
the thing you talked about with your cadence. I learn a little bit about cadence. You want to get that perfect stride for your body, for your height, your weight,
Yep.
for your knees, for your ankles. And instead of trying to stride it out from 36 inches to 39 inches, no, keep the 36 inches. Just go from 70 steps per minute or 160 steps per minute to 180. And that alone will make you go from a 9-minute pace to an 8-minute pace.
That's right. Yep. Yep. Yeah. The little things. Just taking note of the little things and making those small adjustments. But it's hard. I ain't gonna lie. It's it's hard to do that because in the background you got everything else going on. I was talking to Dean yesterday. And I told him, I said, in the middle of this run I'm doing, it's 48 miles. I'm having to take a break, if you will, take the kids to get ice cream. I think mile like 32. I'm like, okay, they want ice cream, so I got to find a way to muscle out, trip to the store on 3 hours of sleep to get them ice cream, and then so there's all this other stuff in the background. And I told him this, and this is interesting. You'll find this interesting. That 48-mile run was both the most unproductive thing I did all weekend, but the most relaxing because I was only able to focus on one thing. I didn't have to worry about all the other stuff around me. I could relax and just focus on one thing, and because of that, it was relaxing. Like that run, although 48 miles is a lot, it was really relaxing because I only had to focus on the one thing.
Oh my God! Like that right there is why when we say when were you the most, like when do you constantly refer back to when you were at your peak in the flow, and you said JRTC, like that's come up so many times, those 15, 20 days, the 10
Yep.
days in the box. Why? Because of what you just said. Like that was the only thing we had to think about, like that was it.
Yep.
We were just thinking about what's the next mission? How do we get our guys in a position? How do we answer the next set of PIR? What is the next set of PIR? What's the next decisions that Colonel Mayo needs to make? How do we go out and find the answers to those decisions before he even has to make that decision? So it gets made for him,
Yep.
And we were laser focused. There was no distractions. And the only thing like your 48-mile run was, hey, you need to go catch 2 hours of sleep right now. Well, because we know this is going to be a lull. This is your time to go catch a couple hours of sleep because I need you to be clicking and you need me to be clicking at this time.
Yep. Yep.
I need you to be clicking. Tomorrow we're going to have a rehearsal. I need the commander to be clicking at the rehearsal. So he needs to go to sleep at this time. And we need to have a plan up to the higher headquarters by this time. So we need to be clicking for those few hours in order to get that plan up. As soon as we deliver the plan, you need to take a quick 2-hour nap because in about 2 hours, they're going to read your plan and they're going to have questions, And we were like laser focused. And I think that's why people remember it. They remember that look in your eye, and it's like, how do you replicate that?
Yeah, that's what Dean said. He goes, I remember looking at y'all's eyes and there was something going on. And my only answer to him was, it was the coffee. It was the mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other answer, from a simple standpoint, when Dean looked at you, he saw like God. Like he sees you and he's like, oh my God, like this is what leadership is. Like you had seen the white elephant, you knew what combat was. You knew what it felt like when a soldier died and you had to do a memorial ceremony. And you knew, not on my watch. Like it will not be because I was not prepared. It will not be because we were not ready. if something like that happens, it'll be God's will. It will not be because we failed to be prepared. And like that's the like without even saying it, like that's the coffee. That's the thing that gets us up in the
Yeah.
morning, right? Like that's the lion's mane is that when me and you know we need to be in position by this time in order to seize this opportunity. Like that's the thing. We see memorial ceremonies, we see families, we see flags over caskets, and other people see a training exercise, and other people see, a scoreboard, and other people see like I'm going to get credit for doing good, and like people are going to talk about how good I did. That's what other people might see.
Mm,
That's not what we see. We see moms and dads hugging their kids when they get off that plane safe and sound because of what we did.
mm, yeah, that's powerful.
That's the lion's mane.
That's right. And I think that stuff when you're an authentic leader, that stuff is just in you. And it's hard to communicate how much is at stake. I was on a buddy of mine drove up from Southern Pines to run with me, and this is right before I kind of blacked out on one of the runs because I'd been up and I didn't really hallucinate, but I was close to it. But we got to talking about how powerful the Army is because it surrounds you with a group of people that you can go through shared hardship with, and like how people don't understand the power of knowing that someone has your back.
Hmm.
Like there's always the thought that, I'm never alone in anything I do because I have a whole team that's here to support me if I ask, or there are particular folks who notice it and they'll just check up on me. And the comfort level that brings in knowing that you have a family of people who support you,
Yes.
despite all the social BS and the politics, like none of that stuff matters in the military, at least in my experience. And so it's really nice to know that exists.
Yeah. It only exists because you created it. And it
Mm,
only exists because you made that atmosphere that 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 people knew if they came around the corner and they see Trivius Caldwell laying on a poncho in the grass in a piece of shade at 1400 in the afternoon on day 7 of JRTC rotation, they say that's laser focus. Like that guy knows this is his time to get a couple hours of sleep, and we got his back. Like if someone calls on the radio, we're going to handle it. We're not going to wake him up and ask him what to do.
yeah.
Like we're going to handle it if I'm the battle captain because he needs a couple hours of sleep because they know that you've been putting in 18-hour, 20-hour days, 4 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep. You can find a way to do it, maybe not all at once, right? They
Yep.
got your back because they know you built that up. You're not the guy that walks in the talk and starts screaming at people and starts saying, why the fuck is this not right? Why is that not right? This sucks. This is wrong. This is it. Like you need to do better. And then walks out and goes to sleep while after he gets done yelling at everybody, right? And telling them how screwed up they are
Yeah.
and thinks that's leadership. And then then they see you sleeping and they're like, okay, I got something for him,
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know.
Let it
When
fall apart.
when the commander calls and says, "Hey, let me speak to Major Caldwell," and they go, "Oh, sorry, sir, he's sleeping again. He's sleeping again at 1400." And they're like, "Well, why do you say again?" Well, because every time you call for him, he's sleeping. You know. Instead, they're like, "Hey, I need to speak with Major Caldwell," and they're like, "Hey, sir, he's out trooping the line right now."
Yep. Yep.
And they're like, "Oh, when do you think he'll be back?" "He'll be back in 2 hours." I know because that's what he does. He goes and troops the line. He goes and sees the units. He thinks about what the units need, and then he's coming up with a plan.
Hmm.
That's what he's doing. He'll be back in 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting metaphor because, oh man, that's the power of knowing your leaders,
Hmm.
and trusting them to do the right thing.
Well, you trust them because they trusted you.
Yeah.
Like that. I trust you to make the right decisions in this talk. I trust you to make these best decisions for our family. Like you don't need to call me at work and ask me a question because I have told the kids 1,000 times, make the best decision with the information that they have at that moment.
Yep.
Like, what would you do if I was not on the other end of the phone? And they say, well, this is what I would have done. And we talk about it. And then I go, okay, next time, do it.
Do you think that's a process? Because I got to thinking about that yesterday, and this might be arbitrary, but Colonel Mayo called me and I was in the middle of washing the car. And I was like, I sent him a message that says, hey, sir, can I call you back in 15 minutes? And I thought about this probably longer than I should have thought about it. But I said, I'm okay with texting him that because it's what he would want me to do. He would not want me to stop what I'm doing at that moment, pick up the phone, and, so I'm like, what would he want me to do in this moment? And when you get to the point where you can think like that, then, had that been like within a month of meeting him, I would have stopped what I was doing, sit in the car, picked up the phone, but that's not what he would want me to do. And he would feel bad, I think, if he knew that I was stopping at that dead set moment to answer the phone, as opposed to calling him back in 15 minutes where I had clear head, clear time to talk to him. But that's just an example. Once you have trust in the leadership relationship, you don't have to think about the fear of making decisions or fear of doing things in the absence of your leaders, because you know them well enough.
Yeah, and is that on you or is that on Colonel Mayo for setting that climate? I think it's on him, because he set it for you to feel comfortable saying, hey, I need 15 minutes to finish washing the car. I'll call you in 15 minutes. Roger that. Got it. If you're the kind of leader that people feel the expectation to stop what they're doing in the middle of their kids' volleyball game and say, I got to walk outside and take this call. And you're like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, I have to take this call because this person is on the other end of the line. There are a lot of people in our work, in our profession, and in this world that would say a professional walks outside and takes that call because the higher ranking person, or the boss, if you will, and that's the people that would use that term, boss, right? They would say boss. They would say the boss called, the boss needs this, and you need to walk outside and take that phone call. That's not the organization I want to be a part of.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if I was the leader, not the boss, if I was the leader, I would try to give my people the ample amount of time to get the information, so they could say, hey, the commander needs this. When you're able, please gather the information and get it to us, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just trust, trust in the organization.
And only you as the commander can do that. Like, only you can make your people trust you, right? Only you can do that. You can absolutely take that away, no matter what you say, no matter what you do. Like, if they don't trust you, that is not on them. That is not because they have a complex. That is not because they are this new generation. That is not anything like that. That is absolutely on you as the leader to make them trust you. And if they don't trust you, you can't say it's because, they're soft. They're this generation. You've got to create separation between you and your people. You've got to have you're getting too close to your soldiers, Okay. That's why they don't trust you, because they know you're all about business and all you care about is accomplishment of the mission. They are just a pawn in this game, and they're a pawn in your game. And then when you say, it's not about me, it's about the organization, it's about something bigger than myself, the second you have to say that, it ain't about you. It ain't about something bigger than yourself. Yeah. Because if it was, you wouldn't have to say it.
Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'm excited about command, and I got a chance while I was down in Columbus to see the basic trainees, and man, they're inspiring. And they look just like regular privates, specialists, young and impressionable. But it's cool to kind of to see that, they're all in the bays getting ready to go to field, I think.
I tell you, going to that MPCC, maneuver pre-command, I think is what it's called, when you go to Fort Benning, and you show up at the gate at Fort Moore and they say, welcome home. You're like, damn right. And then and then you go drive by the airborne school, and you go drive by the barracks, and you go see the basic trainees. Like, that's what you need to see right before you take them home, because that's what it's all about. Like that is where it all begins. And I think the Army is doing justice and doing the right thing when it puts its top talent out there teaching the future of our Army.
Yeah.
That is I'm not going to say it's the place, because you got to have top talent leading organizations that have all these people in it. You can't just say, well, we're going to take everybody and put them in training, because someone's got to lead the good organization. Someone's got to be a good example.
That's right. That's right.
And maybe the answer is we just need everybody to be great.
Well, I used to say, I said, man, wouldn't it be great if everybody that showed up to do their job just did their job? Nothing more, nothing less. Just show up to do what you're supposed to do, and how effective that would be for an organization that did that. But I think sometimes we get so consumed with what the next guy's doing, what the next organization's doing, that you lose focus on what you're supposed to do. And then when that happens, somebody else has to pick up the slack, and then that's when people get overworked. That's when folks get disgruntled. Yeah. So, in the power of just doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. The unfortunate side of that is that I don't know how we're going to get away from this pecking order, and then this competition based system that we've got right now, which is, you take all of your lieutenants and you rack them 1 to 32. Why? Right? Mm-hmm. Why? Because then because they got to go on their evaluation, so that we know which ones are the best and which ones should be captains. Okay, so now you take all your captains and your company commanders and you rank them 1 to 32. Why? Because we got to know which one gets the top rating, and which one gets to go become a major. And all that. Stop thinking like that. Like, this is the way it's always been. Like, stop thinking crazy. Well, if we want everybody, all 32 of our commanders, to show up and give their absolute best, oh man, you're a pipe dream. Like, stop. Like, this is just crazy talk. Like, not everybody's going to be that good.
That's
you got to pick your top talent. And you're like, well, we're bleeding top talent, people say. And they're like, well, my best people are leaving. Well, if our best people are leaving the military, what's it saying about me and you? Hey, thanks. I appreciate that comment. That when somebody much more senior to me, who I respect, said that we're bleeding top talent, and only the people that are all the second class people are staying in. And I'm like, what's that say about me?
Yeah.
So the only reason I got selected for brigade command, is because I didn't get out, and all the top guys did.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Wow. Yeah. 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 I don't, obviously I don't believe that, and I know you don't either,
No doubt.
But yeah, you're right. That's interesting. Yeah. And what does that say about the organization too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I'm pumped.
And this is kind of like when we were saying earlier that when you don't have like a list of things to do for the day, and you don't have like kind of some goals and some targets for the day, you kind of meander throughout your day, and your kind of head is cloudy and you're not sure what to do, right?
That's right.
That could be like one of the things that our military, our Army is in right now. Is like, it's not sure where it's going. We just came out of Afghanistan. We're not sure if we're going to war with China or if we're going to go to war with Russia. We're not really sure. We're just like, because I feel the same way that I felt in the 90s, where it's like, tip of the spear, be ready. Be ready for what? I don't know. Well, be ready for something. Be ready for China. Be ready for, Russia. Be ready for this. Oh, we're going back to Syria, and now we're going to do counterterrorism all over again, because terrorism blew up again. And okay. So I feel like we're kind of at this lack of clarity time. That's why we're bringing up bleed in talent. That's why we're bringing up recruiting issues. That's why we're bringing up only the best people are staying. That's why we're bringing up, where do we put our top talent? Because when we were at war, we knew where the top talent needs to go, right? It needs to go win the war. And then now it's like, well, where do we put our top talent? Do we put them in training organizations? Do we put them in maneuver units? Do we put them in the units that are in the Pacific because that's the most important region? Do we put them in Europe because that's the most important active region right now? Like, where do we put our top talent? You know?
Yeah.
Mm.
Man, these are big problems, big people to solve them. Well, you're gonna go out to Hawaii and make an impact, definitely.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm already trying to do it. One of the things I'm kind of not struggling with, but one of the things I'm going through right now is I'm trying to stay focused on this transition and on this move and enjoy leave and be laser focused with my girls and with Brady and Hunter and Christy, you know, get the family moved out, get this family situation right so that when I do start working again, like I have laser like clarity and focus. And at the same time doing what kind of wakes me up in the morning, these kind of conversations, you know, getting up in the morning and feeling inspired and not just be like, all right, I washed the car and I prepped my luggage for the move and like just like how do I make those things like just as inspirational, you know?
Yep.
And not make them, but be present in the moment because that is the moment. Like that's the moment. Like seeing Evan get picked to be All-American at the AAU tournament. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's great.
There was 192 teams just in her division, like her division, right? There was 192 teams. Every team has anywhere from 10 to 12 girls on it, and they picked 12. And of those 12 girls that got picked to be an All-American, it wasn't picked by your coach. It was picked by the other team's coaches who recognized who is that on the other side of the net. And that is the person that stood out to me. How good did you have to be to stand out?
Yeah.
When they played 12 games in order to get to like the knockout round, the championship day, and then it's like winner take all on championship day. You know, it gets knocked down to the Sweet 16 to the Elite Eight. You know, it's knockout round now. It doesn't matter what your record was before. Is how you got, but you had to have a good record in order to get to the final 16. You know, and that those coaches picked her.
Yeah. Well, that's a reflection of you and Chrissy as well. You know.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And then the coaches told us in secret, like they came and they told us like, hey, you know, Evan got picked for this. We're going to tell the whole team together after that. And I was like, so what does that mean? They're like, well, that now, you know, if you want to, like you go over to the ESPN Wild World of Sports where the final game is held. And after the final game, they're going to call her name and bring her up on stage and give her this bit, you know, give her a trophy. And you're like, so now you have to stay in Orlando for an additional 5 hours, or you could drive home. And Evan was like, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
Like I'm done. I just want to go home. Like I just want to be home. This is a long weekend. I wish we would have won the whole thing. She's disappointed that they didn't win the whole thing. She's like, we could have played better on that last game. We should have beat that team. I want to go home. And I'm like, and all I started thinking about was that podcast and that book Sam Walker wrote about the captain's class. You know, are you part of the captain's class, which is the unofficial leader on teams that all they care about is what the team needs in order to be successful. And all they care about is they know instinctually, like what Tim Duncan, like what needs to be done at that precise moment in order for the team to be successful. They don't care about accolades. They don't care about these things. They just want the team to be successful. And as soon as like those some of them didn't go to like the captain of the U.S. women's national team didn't even go to the parade up at the White House. Went home and did like laundry. And it was like, I just got to get ready for the next thing.
Yep.
And that's what Evan wanted to do. But we ate some chow and I gave her a little bit of time. I didn't say anything. And then she's like, so do we need to go over to the ESPN headquarters? and I was like, Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we go get some chow, we go get some sushi, we eat healthy, and then we take our time. She's like, "So should I wear my nice shoes?" Or and I could see her getting like it was starting to sink in, like this is a once in a lifetime type of thing. It's like we're gonna go over there, and they're gonna call your name, and you're gonna go up on stage, and you're gonna accept this trophy on behalf of your teammates, because they're the ones that allowed you to get there.
Yep. Yep. Well,
Unbelievable.
that's good stuff.
And I was in the moment. You, hey, you asked me, maybe you didn't ask me, but a couple weeks ago when you said, "Hey, tell me some of the things that you took from that executive coaching session."
Uh-huh.
Hold on, I'm staring at this freaking huge bat ray. He's got to be about 3 feet from tip to tip. He
Oh,
just
wow.
swam under my dock. Yeah, big, not the stingray, not the circle ones, the bat rays that like have the pointy tips on their wings. He
Mm.
just swam right past me, real slow. All right, so you said like, hey, what are some of the things that I want to hear, like when you get some of the things that you're getting from your executive coaching,
Yep.
right? And I kind of bucketed them. I got lots of pages of notes and stuff like that. It's still raw, but it's kind of bucketed into to three buckets, right? The first bucket is you can't do this alone. Like you've got to have a coach. You've got to have people. You've got to have people on your team that are going to help you through these tough times, right? Or help you get to the next level. Or if you know that there's something that you want to take things to the next level, you need to surround yourself with people that are going to help you get there, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whether that be coaches, whether that be mentors, whether that be your small board of directors that you have, helped yourself to put together, and that's like people like you. That's like people that you can count on that are going to help you get to that next level and help you learn something a little bit every day. Always learning, always growing. Build a team around you. You can't do it alone.
Yeah.
So that is kind of like the first bucket. You can't do it alone. The second bucket is that clarity is king, and that if you're going to take it to the next level in whatever that next level of whatever profession you're in or whatever you're trying to do with life, is like you've got to be clear on like what's important to you, what are your values, what are your principles, where are you going, what direction are you heading. That will allow you to kind of like set some laser focused goals, like some things that when times get tough, that's the direction I'm going.
Mm.
This is in line with my values. This is not in line with my values. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Clarity is king. Focus is king. You can't focus if you're unclear on like where you're going and what's important to you in life. I say life because this all starts with life, and then it can get into your profession. And like the third bucket, brother, is like they always talk about execution. They always talk about the discipline to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
They talk there, there's 1,000 books and podcasts, and everybody's got their 5 steps, their 4 phases, their 4 steps to 4 disciplines of execution. Getting things done. Everybody's got a process, for that. But it's execution. It's what is it going to work for you? How do you get 1% better every day? How do you keep track of the things that you got to get done? What habits and routines do you have that you do every single day, that you do once a week, that you do monthly? Those habits, those routines that you go through, the daily headspace, the exercising that keeps you, the good night's sleep that makes you wake up in the morning and fired up.
Mm-hmm.
What are those execution processes that you have, those processes that you have that get you in that flow, that get you in that state more often than other people, but not comparing yourself to other people, more often than you've been doing, or more often that is necessary in order for you to take it to the next level.
Sure.
Because some of us have to work harder. Like I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'd like to think I'm a pretty good listener. And so if I've got to work a little bit harder, if I've got to work a little bit more often, if I've got to look at things 5, 6, 7 times before it can really start to sink in for me, and I need to do it while I'm exercising, then I need to do that more often, you know? So those are my processes. So those are the 3 buckets. The 3 buckets is you can't do it alone. Clarity is king, and execution is the key to doing the things once you set those goals. And then last I'd say is that it all starts with you, and it all starts with you as an individual, because you have got to, like, in order to lead, you've got to demonstrate these things. You've got to show people the right way to do it. You've got to show people how to execute. You can't just say execute. Yeah. You got to show people what your values are. You can't just say these are my values. You can't just write them on a piece of paper, put them up on a wall and say, these are my values. Everybody go off and do great things and follow my values. You know? So in order to lead an organization, you've got to demonstrate it yourself. Like those things, clarity is king. You've got to be clear about your things. That will turn into a good organization. The same things that you do as an individual are the things that an organization needs to have. An organization needs to have values. An organization needs to have clarity. An organization needs to know what direction it's going. An organization has to have processes that are done the same way all the time. It can't be, our organization is known as an organization that creatively solves problems. What does that mean? Does that mean do it differently every single time? Yeah, it means we never do something the same way twice. That's a challenge. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I want to be a part of an organization that does something different every single time. You know, routine things need to be done routinely. Yeah. So that there's zero question. If you run into this person in my organization, we all do it the same way. Like anybody in the snakes, these are our values. This is how we do things, right? It's not that, well, you have to talk to Matt in order to get to just see it done right. Or, well, most of the people do it okay, but if you talk to Trivius, he'll do it really good. No, you want them to talk to anybody in your organization. And that's the feeling that the same feeling that they're going to get when they talk to anybody in your organization is the feeling that they would get when they talk to you. Yeah.
That's food for thought. That's really smart. Because then what you're saying is that if you work on yourself, then you will become a manifestation of that, and the organization will follow your lead. And you just pour yourself into it, you know.
Yeah, they've been organizations follow the lead of their leader. If their leader is clear about what their direction he or she is going, everybody's clear about what direction they're going.
Yeah.
If it's clear that physical fitness is important and being healthy, your leader's going to walk in healthy, and your leader's going to walk in physically fit, and you're going to catch your leader doing PT. You know, where is the leader at between 6:30 and 8 o'clock? I can tell you they're not in their office. Unless there's 06 sync goes until 6:35, the first alarm has to come and get us. That's right. But like that's where you know the leader's going to be. Like, don't go looking for the leader in the middle of Monday afternoon and look for them in the office, because they're either going to be in the motor pool doing the motor pool walk, or they're going to be at a training room, or whatever it is your organization has in its battle rhythm at that time. That's what organizations do. Yeah. You know, they don't show up in the morning and do a stand-up, and then that's the time where we figure out what we're going to do today. Like, that's what people, I think, would misinterpret when we say we're doing our morning stand-up. Morning stand-up is where the SCO tells everybody, like, what they're going to do today. That couldn't be more wrong.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, we're going to show up and every day, this is where the commander's going to put out his priorities. You're telling me you're going to wait till 06 in the morning to tell everybody what your priorities are? Like, they should tell you what their priority is.
That's right. Yeah, there's prep work the prep work that's happening before the stand-up. You know, at least on my end, like, I got to know what's happening, and thank goodness for that self-journal that you turned me on to, because that thing was a heaven sent. You know, helped me out a lot.
Yeah, and you've got to prepare the day before. In order to be ready for a 06 meeting, you probably need to do the things today to gain clarity on what needs to be done tomorrow. And you probably need to have some kind of schedule that schedules things out for a week and for a month, right? So that you can look at it in the distance and say, are we going the right direction? What are our lag measures and our lead measures? You know, if I want to lose weight, everybody knows what it takes to lose weight. Burn more calories than you put in. So you either need to run longer or you need to eat less. Like, it's that simple. It's that. But do you have the discipline? Do you have the processes? Do you have the execution to do that? Do you carve time out in your schedule to go for a walk? You know, to exercise? Yeah. Do you carve out 30 minutes to do exercise in the morning, but you've carved out 3 hours a day to eat? 1 hour for breakfast, 1 hour for lunch, and 1 hour for dinner. Yeah. You've carved out 30 minutes. Like, that's simple math, you know? Do PT for 90 minutes in the morning and eat for 60 minutes a day. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, because I spend 30 minutes eating lunch and I spend 30 minutes eating dinner. Okay, so, but in 30 minutes I can eat a lot of calories, you know? Okay, well, so now start measuring calories. You know, hey, how many calories did you burn in your 60 minutes, 90 minutes? Man, I can do 15 minutes of CrossFit and burn more calories than you. Awesome. How many did you burn in 30 minutes? I burned 2,000 calories. Okay, how many calories should you intake throughout the day? Well, this is what my app says. That, okay, awesome. You have an app now. You have a way to track it. You know, you're not just like happenstance figuring out what I ate and happenstance figuring out what I did for a run. You're measuring your run. You're measuring your calories. You're measuring what you take in. And then now apply that to anything else in life that you're trying to do good at. You know?
Yeah, it's not that hard, right?
Yeah, the discipline is hard. The discipline is hard. Hard as an individual. And if you're part of a team where you're no longer the leader, now you're at the mercy of whoever the leader is. Because, you know, I want to go spend 90 minutes doing PT, but if I spend 90 minutes in the morning doing PT and don't show up to the office until 9, and everybody else has been there since 7, I look like a loser. I look like the guy that only cares about himself. I look like the person who shows up late for work. And they're the people that didn't do PT. They're the ones that didn't exercise. They're showing up at 7, but they're at 80% capacity. They're at 7, but they got a bad attitude. They show up at 7, and they're the first person there. And they're like, oh, you're so great. You're the first person to show up every day. You're always here to take my tasks. And they always do your tasks mediocre. And they always give you a substandard product back. They give it back to you fast. They give it back to you at the end of by lunchtime, but it's garbage. Yeah. And nobody remembers. They just remember you're always there. And then 2 years from now, you're like, thanks for showing up every day at 7. And thanks for always responding to my email by noon and giving me the info that I wanted by noon. You are an impact player. Tell me one thing you did to be an impact player. Tell me one thing. Can't name a thing. Yeah. Because nothing they did was memorable. Right? And then there's the person that shows up at 9, fired up, ready to go, did exercise, did PT, has a schedule, has a plan. These are their 3 targets. They knock out those 3 targets by noon, and people are like, I remember that person. That's the person that did this. That's the person that created that product. That's the person that turned this organization into something. That's the person that got all the vehicles fixed. That's the person that won at JRTC. You know? Yeah. Oh my God.
You're fired up. You got me fired up. That's the organizational energy right there in that one person carrying the team, you know?
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, hey, sir, I gotta run. The kids will be up here in a minute. This was great. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, brother, I did too. And I want to do this again when I get, probably the next time we can link up to do this for like an extended period of time is probably when I get to Oahu, when I get to Waikiki. Yeah. And I'll touch base with you on what day that is. Like maybe it's the morning of the 4th of July or something like that. We'll have a beautiful backdrop in the area.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. We can zoom. We can zoom in.
We'll do a Zoom. But what I would love to do, right? What I would love to do is to start to practice like how we are recording these conversations. How, hey, is there a way you can go back and pull up that 5 minutes where I discussed like the 3 biggest things from executive coaching? Can you take that 5-minute clip and then add that to this thing? Like, I want to turn it into a 5-minute video, with pictures, and I'm going to put that as the backdrop, and I want to put it on, social media, or,
Oh yeah. We can
trailer
definitely
to do like, hey, on future episodes, the next podcast coming out is going to be 40-40-40, 48-48, where I talk to Dean Danis about like this, and this. And then you got that little clip of Dean Danis, before you put out the podcast. So it gets people's juices flowing. Like, I can't wait to listen to that podcast because I've already got the little
snippet.
clip.
Yeah. I got to spend some time and figure out how to do it. There's a way to do it. And it's interesting because I found a green screen room on Duke's campus. So I'm playing around with that too to try to figure out. But I got a good friend coming down next month, and he does this stuff. So he's probably gonna show me some tips, and that'd be pretty cool. So I can kind of extract clips and turn them into to little social media promos, if you will. But yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, and the reason is because I've been thinking about it, and like, I don't think that I'm gonna be able to take on like me producing any podcasts, or me always, producing like this beautiful content. But what I can do is I can get with people that are producing the content, are producing the podcast, and be a part of it. Share what I can, and help you with a guy that's already got the podcast going. And provide some feedback to you and say like, hey, this is what we could do or you could do, we could do to take this to the next level. Because I've been watching it from a lot of different levels here at SOCOM, and I've been watching the way they do their podcast here, watching the way a second team does their podcast, watch the way they communicate, and now we're going to take it over there to the island, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be great, and I'll keep you in touch with this stuff, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because like this and the Dr. Greg stuff, and the McConnell Center, and the idea of going out there and talking leadership with them and you, and I think like your gift isn't just you talking, Trivius talking and telling people what he thinks. I think one of your gifts is that you get people talking, and you get people comfortable to share what they're thinking. And so like being the moderator, being the person that you not only have the education, but you also have the personality and the conversation, starter type about you, the bourbon and cigar about you, that just can like get people talking. Like you get shields down, you get people to take their shield down, and you get people to kind of say, you ask the right questions, but you're also like the kind of person that like when you ask that question, I know that you've had your neck and your feet in the dirt. I know you were out there at JRTC. I know you understand it. You went to Ranger School. You know these things. You're not just like a bookworm who's like, I studied this, and I studied that, so therefore I know. And people are like, man, you don't know the first thing. You've got the street cred. You've got the street cred that people have, but you've also got the unbelievable education that most people don't, that other people have. But you've got it both, man. You've got both of those in spades.
Yeah, I just try to get back where I can, and keep it moving. But it's definitely fun to do, and I'm learning along the process, along the way too. I mean, I'm grateful for you as a mentor, as a continued mentor, to think about all of this stuff. and it comes out in me in many different ways. So I appreciate you, sir.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. Have a great day with the kids. Have a great day studying, doing all your shit.
Yeah, we'll do. You too, sir. Well, you take care. Tell the family I say hello.
All right, brother. I will. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye now.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening today. I hope we sparked some thoughts about the people that have inspired you to be who you are today. I hope you share some of your thoughts and better yet demonstrate them for the people in your life. Our pursuit is to get a little bit better every day. Progress equals small victories stacked on top of each other, building like compound interest. Keep stacking these positive habits. Habits like getting up early, working your butt off, learning something new, being positive, and surrounding yourself with phenomenal people. Please share your comments at the links in the show notes and DM us at Teach Me to Fish podcast on Instagram or Facebook. Looking forward to our next conversation.
Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.